Ooh, you make my motor run. My motor run. Got it coming off the line. La Llorona. Sorry. That's just the first thing that popped into my head when I said the title out loud to myself. Linda Cardellini and Raymond Cruz star in The Curse of La Llorona. And this movie is a horror thriller that takes place inside the Conjuring universe. It's about a social worker and her children who are drawn into a supernatural battle, and they enlist the help of a priest to help just win this fight. Now, if you've seen the movie poster or even like any of the trailers of La Llorona, you see that she wants your children. And that's what the whole crux of this movie is about, is that this evil spirit is trying to take children. Now, this movie relies heavily on the jump scare. I mean, there's not a lot of terror really involved in this, or even a lot of the creep factor. It's just all about getting you to jump out of your seat. Sometimes it works. A lot of the time you totally see it coming, just from a mile away. And while sometimes those get me still, a lot of these, they didn't. One of the things that I really liked about this movie is the camera work. I mean, from the framing of the shots to the way that they tracked their characters and they moved along with them, it drew me into the film so much. Despite the story's best efforts, just in its obviousness to pull me back out of the story. Linda Cardellini is good in this. I mean, she's very believable as a widow who is raising her children just the best that she can and doing what she can with the kids. And she's a very loving mom. She takes really good care of them. And so I liked her character in this. But her and the children do a fair amount of screaming throughout the film, and at times it just gets a little tiring. Raymond Cruz is great because he brings levity and sarcastic humor, which is needed, and not just to break the tension of the film, but really to take a break from all of the screaming that's going on. I mean, he has some deadpan lines that are awesome, and we really chuckled out loud because they were delivered in such a believable way, and they weren't just out of left field. I mean, it totally fit with who we understand him to be, even though we don't have a lot of backstory about it. Now, I talked about the camera work, how I really liked that, and I really liked also a lot of the special effects that they used in this, especially when it involved pulling a character or dragging a character. I mean, that was just, it was stunning. It was great to watch, and it fit within what was going on screen. I mean, it didn't seem out of place, and it didn't pull me out of reality or fake reality. It didn't pull me out of the movie and be distracting. I was like, oh, that totally fit. Sometimes when you see some special effects and they're just really bad or just really wonky, you're like, oh gosh, what's going on? And in those scenes, I didn't feel that it did that. I enjoyed watching a character just be ripped off, off their feet up against a wall or out a door or something like that. Now, the character of La Llorona herself is just not that convincing. I mean, it's not terrifying. Really, she looks more like a lead singer in a death metal band, and we see way too much of her. I mean, just from the very beginning, we see her over and over, and we see her face, and we see her eyes, and we see her hands, and actually the hands don't bother me. It's seeing her face a lot that really, I think it breaks a lot of that horror, because it would be so much more terrifying, in my opinion, that if you barely see her, or you just get a slight glimpse until there's that one reveal where she just comes out, and then all of this tension is built up because you don't totally know what she looks like. Does she have fangs? Does she have no teeth? Is she missing eyes? What's going on? But when we're shown this right up front, all of that mystery is gone. Now, some people might say, well, is this better than The Nun? Well, that's not really a fair comparison because The Nun was utter dog crap. I mean, this is good for what it is as a franchise horror. I don't think it's as good as The Conjuring, but it's not half bad. Me personally, I am still more partial to the cerebral horrors and those thrillers, the ones that really get inside your head and just eat away at you. This one is kind of forgettable. I mean, it was good for while I was watching it, but really as a long-term scare effect, or even just kind of that terror that sits with you for a while, follows you around and kind of haunts you, this doesn't have that. So if you're a fan of the Conjuring universe, you're probably going to enjoy this film. Also, if you enjoy a lot of jump scares, you'll probably get a kick out of this too. There's no sex or nudity, there is a lot of profanity and a bunch of violence. I give The Curse of La Llorona 3.5 out of 5 couches. So what's your favorite in the Conjuring universe? Do you have one? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this review, please give it a like. Also, don't forget to share and subscribe. I'm Chris. This is Movies and Munchies. Thanks for catching with me.